Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Will Custodi, and I have been working on Bizio for quite some time. So today we're going to get the first real demo, and if you're not familiar, Bizio is a business simulation game where your goal is to build a company from the ground up, to make it incredibly successful, and to put your opponents out of business. You do that by completing projects, making money, hiring new employees with better skills, and just doing that whole tycoon monopoly thing. So we're going to gloss over a lot of different things to this demo because I don't want it to be an hour long. But stay tuned as we push future videos out because I'm going to dive into those features, in their own videos. So for now, we're going to do a quick run through of a handful of turns to get a feel for what Bizio is. And we start by creating a new game. A lot of different options here, but I'm just going to go ahead and make a test company. I'm going to play with a couple other players so it goes a little quicker. And the industry is going to be software, which is what the game's going to launch with. A couple different difficulty levels, and they will control how your founder startup is, and you'll see that in just a second. We'll go with Dreamer because it's nice and easy, and we'll name him Will Smith because who doesn't want to play as Will Smith? Uh, so that difficulty setting will control how many skill points and how many extra skills you get. Everybody gets these five, what I've been referring to as like administrative skills, and you'll see how these play into the game a little bit later. But you have the control of picking a handful of optional skills that make your founder kind of who you are or who you want them to be. So I'm going to go ahead and choose some things that, appeal to me. Uh, I'm a developer, so I like some developer kind of things. I'm going to do a little bit of manual testing and maybe have a little bit of uh, illustration in my background. I'm a pretty good server programmer, not a bad web programmer. I could do some testing and maybe I could do a little bit of animation. Cool. So my skill matrix is all filled out. Everything's filled out. And why don't we get a new game started? So for this demo, we're running some stuff on Azure, and I don't want to pay a lot of money for it during development, so things are going to be a little bit slow. Bear with me, but it'll give us an opportunity to stop and talk about some features while things are hanging out. Um, so that industry setting that you saw just a second ago is something that after the game is launched, we plan on rolling out a lot of different industries, one at a time to give users different feels, let everybody have their own kind of experience with the game. Now the elephant in the room that I'm going to ask you to overlook is this big red to blue gradient right in the middle of your screen. That's where the animation of the game is going to be happening. You're going to be able to look at your office, see your employees walking around, click on them, see some information, and just the whole office environment is going to be rendered there. But that animation sits on top of the simulation. And until we got that simulation down and working well, we didn't want to invest time in the animation because that's just going to be another thing to maintain. So for now, that is our next major milestone is to get that going. But the demo that you're seeing today is going to be a run through of the mechanical side of Bizio. So just remember that this is going to be cool and it's not too cool right now. So across the top, I have some basic information, my company, how much money I have, what turn it is, and I can, advance the game with next turn. So the first thing I need to do is make some money. I started out with a nice $50,000 loan, and I want to make more money. So I'm going to need to dive into the project panel, and on the left side here, I have a handful of different panels that we'll explore as we continue to play. Help text is a feature that's coming, so you'll be able to know what these icons are if this is your first time playing. It's not my first time playing, so I know that this is where I can dig in and see what my company is up to, and this is the panel where I can see what my projects are. So there's a bunch of projects available that I can take on, and I can kind of scan through these and see what they require, what they're asking for, how long I have to do it, and most importantly, how much money I can make from doing it. Um, a lot of in the very beginning, a lot of what you're going to decide on taking a project on is based off of reputation. So I don't have any reputation as a company, so I'm going to look for one of these no-star projects. I'm also going to look for something that doesn't require an incredible amount of skill. which is in this requirements section. You can see, 400, 1,000, 700. Like that's going to be really, really hard for me to hit. But that's also why this project's worth $400,000. I could probably shoot for something a lot simpler like this, this portfolio page. So just 100 web programming and 261 illustration. You remember when I was building my Founder? I think those are two skills that I do have. But if I wasn't sure, I could jump back over to my employees panel or my company panel and check out the employee page. And there I can see a list of each of my employees, including my founder. And yep, I do have some web programming. I have 60 and I have 37 illustration. So if I hop on back here, I should be able to complete the web programming side of this in 2 turns. And in 4 turns, I won't necessarily complete the illustration, but that's not a killer for me. That means I'm going to be able to get some skill points into that block, and I think overall I'll be able to make some money on this. So I'm going to request this project and see if I get it. Let's just make sure there's no other good projects for me to take on. This 0-star project requires some planning, creativity, and animation. I don't have any of those, and it requires a lot of that, so not a really good choice. Some more creativity and animation, which I don't have, and another really in-depth project. So I think this is probably the best project for me to take on right now. And these projects are kind of randomly generated, so this is also a really good random gen for the demo. So thank you, random number generation. So why don't we hit next turn, and we'll see if we end up getting that project. Now every turn when it's processing, your decisions are being made and the AI is making their decisions, and the way that you know that things happened or didn't happen or just kind of the result of everything is the mailbox down in the bottom left. You'll pop that open and we can see emails that we get from different departments throughout the company, and project management has told us that we got the project. We got the portfolio web dev project, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And then let's take a look at our projects, and we'll look at our projects in progress. So I can see that I have 3 turns left. I don't really need the description right now. I don't have anyone allocated to this though, and that's the first step. I'm going to put myself on as the lead here, and I'm going to say this is going to take up 100% of my time. So let's save that, and that's what I need to do. So we can go ahead and hit next turn and see that process. This should add a couple of, my skill, the 60 and the 37, to these requirements. So the goal here is you want to hit those numbers or exceed them to be able to make 100% of that money. That's the value there. But it's not the end of the world if you come up short, because if you're close enough, if you did most of the project, you're going to get most of the money. And it's not like you do 50% of the requirements, you get 50% of the money, because that's not how the real world works. But if you come really close, you're going to get rewarded in some way, and it's going to help you out. But if you take it on and just kind of slack off and don't do anything, that's going to hurt you. And that's what that reputation is for. You want to build it up. You want to do good jobs on every project that you do, so you can go and take on those bigger projects, those more valuable projects. So why don't we keep churning here? I don't really need to do anything else other than watch this project as it continues. All right, so I have 1 turn left on this project before it's due, and I have an option. I can submit the project this turn and sort of get a bonus or have it perceived better that I was like, I'm done with this project, let me submit it. But I'll come up a little shorter on illustration. Or I can wait the 1 turn and wait for the company to come asking, knocking at the door for this project. And that, I think I will get a better return on investment if I just continue and let them come get it from me rather than me submitting it. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. And, ballparking in my head, I should probably end up with like $2,500, maybe $3,000 out of that 3,500 total. And we'll notice next turn it'll probably pop up in uh, our amount of money made up there. So overall, I think this project is going to be a success. It's going to add to our rep, and we'll go take a look at what our reputation is after we complete this. Ah, right. It is due this turn. I have no turns left to work on this, so this is the turn when that whole scenario I was just describing would happen. So why don't we go ahead? We'll churn this one more time. And you notice I'm kind of overstacking the web programming here uh, because I am just allocated to this project at a certain capacity, and all of my skills go towards it. I can't really do like no percent of my web programming, but all of my illustration on this because as a person, you're just a collective of your skills. So let's take a look. We failed the project because we came up short, but we made about $1,900 after failing, which, again, maybe submitting it would have given us a better return on investment, but I think getting those extra skill points in there helped us probably more. But the big part here is our rep went up a lot, from 0 to 2.7 stars. So that's huge because we needed to know that. We need that to be able to get better projects. And if we take a look at our company, we're test company here. I keep having issues. Our reputation bar here should be filling up. And you should see that we would have about 2.7 stars. We've completed a project, and it looks like some of our competition has also completed some projects. Maybe not for a whole lot of money, but they have completed projects. So we are in the race here. We're ahead. We're up by like $1,400 from where we started, which is really good. Now this gives me an opportunity to talk about our actions. So everything we've done so far, requesting a project, if we had submitted a project, we added an allocation, these are actions. And when we were setting up our founder, I was talking about those mandatory skills that kind of every employee, every person has. Those are the skills that drive these actions, and each of these actions requires a different amount of various, mandatory administrative kind of skills. And so you want to play around with this as you're going through to tell yourself you can't do it all. You can't be a one-man complete HR department. So you need to pick and choose the things that you want to focus on. And I think right now I have way too much checked off here. So I need to turn off some of the things that I'm not going to be doing in the next few turns. Like, I'm not going to request extensions. I have enough. I have like 9 actions for adjusting allocations, so I don't think I need to invest any more in that. I'm not going to change anyone's salary or fire anyone. I might make an offer, and I might interview somebody, but I don't think I'm going to interview multiple people. So I think that's good. And what that'll do is, rather than spreading my, 50 administration points out across, 12 different actions, it's going to tailor it, and it's only going to put it into the ones that I care about. So I'll be able to accumulate some more actions here. But that's one thing that we're going to do. And another is, why don't we go take a look at taking on another project? So now we have 2 stars, so we can start looking at some of these other ones that require more than 0 stars and also pay well. So some of these projects are still really big. It looks like our competition's taken some of the smaller things. I know we have, what do we have? We have illustration as a thing. Yeah. So 2 programming things, manual testing and illustration. This is the part that you gotta figure out what you have versus what you need, and this is going to drive us to hire somebody new, which is the next thing I'm going to walk through. So we have a choice of like this, So I have 3 of the required skills here, but that's almost certainly not going to be enough. 10 turns is good. I could probably do a good job on the skills that I do have. Let's see if we can find an employee. I can't request this project yet though because I don't have any skill points for requesting projects. Darn. So we are getting close. Let's next turn that and see. Can't request a project until you have enough points to be able to do that. So one of the major things that we're working on in the next phase of development is making a lot of these features that I'm talking about a lot more visible to the player. I know one of the pain points right now is knowing that you have or don't have enough skill points to do something, and uh, knowing what skills you do and don't have as you look at a project. So we're exploring different options, like when you're looking at this, maybe highlighting the skills that you do have, or adding some hover text. If you were to hover over it, would tell you how much cumulative you would produce in a single turn for each of these different things. So we're definitely looking on adding a lot of strong visual cues throughout the system to make the things that I'm talking about a lot more easy. But again, we're not even at alpha yet, so that's just something to consider. So we're working through. I still don't have enough to accept a project, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of turn off other things here. Let's not talk about making offers or any of that stuff. So the only one I have on is accepting a project. So I should have one of these points next turn. And it's unfortunate that I'm burning all this time as I play through because my, the AI is playing the game the way that they want to, and they are likely making progress, right around me. So thankfully, they're probably just working on projects right now, but uh, if they were working on smaller things, they could be making more money, could be hiring people, and wasting turns is not a good idea. All right, so now I can accept a project, and also I think other projects may have opened up, which is not a bad thing. Okay, that's a huge project, but a ton of money to be made there. Also a huge project. Server programming, manual testing, and illustration. I do have those, so maybe we can get someone with like organizing, exploratory, negotiation, or project planning. I'd like to look at the amount of skills required too if I'm going to hire somebody. Like this needs a lot of organization and exploratory testing. So if I can pick up somebody with those skills, I can probably complete this project to a decent level. So let's request it. So organization and exploratory testing is what we're looking for. No, no, nope, nope, nope. Organization, okay. Organization, organization. My goodness. Exploratory testing. Man, it's like these two combination skills are very difficult to find. So, take a look, organization. Man, all right. So this brings me to a really interesting point. I might have to hire a couple of people to match up here. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just going to be expensive on my part. And so without saying it, I brought us to the people panel, and we're looking at a bunch of unemployed people. I can recruit them, which would mean I would bring them into my prospects, and I would be able to see generally where their skills lie. Right now I just know how many skills they have, but I don't know what the value of each of those is. And that's going to help you decide how much to offer a person, but I'm a little bit desperate, so I think I don't want to pass up that really good project that could make us a lot of money. So I'm going to look for somebody that has organization and not a whole lot of other skills. Well, this guy has exploratory testing and not a whole lot of other skills. So I'm going to make an offer here, just kind of blinding, and we're going to do maybe like $4,000 a turn. Seems like a lot of money for sure, but when I don't know what to offer, it's not bad. So let's do that, and let's also realign our actions so we can make more offers, because that's something that we also will want to do. And let's keep our inbox open so we can, oh, yeah, we changed all of our action statuses, and that's an old message. So we'll advance. Hopefully we get that project. Hopefully that person accepts our offer. And then we also want to get that recruit person action point so we can, or that make offer action point so we can make another offer to someone who can contribute to the project positively. Excellent. I can see by the subjects here that they accepted the offer and that we got the project. So why don't we go take a look at our new employee. I can tell that she is very happy, and that's great because $4,000, although it's a lot of money to be paying per turn, I feel like I'm getting a good amount of money, a good amount of value here. So what's important is like these administrative skills are going to stack up too. So we're going to be able to pump out those points faster, and her exploratory testing is excellent. It's almost maximum. So that's great. I'm going to be a terrible boss, and I'm going to go ahead and just like kind of lop off a bunch of this salary. She's probably not going to be very happy about that, but I need that money initially. And if we take a look at our actions again, it looks like I do have enough to make an offer. So let's go find somebody who has organization, and potentially let's look at our projects and see what else we need. So we have these four are covered. So we could use project planning and organization. Let's see if we can get somebody who has those. Project planning and organization. Cool. So this person has 4 skills, no employment history. I could blindly make them an offer, but for the purposes of showing off the prospect pipeline, I don't want to just totally rush through the demo. Let's pull them in as a recruit. And let's also not forget that we need to allocate people to this project, so that way we actually work on it. So they're going to be staff, and we're going to allocate them at 100%. And then we're going to add me as staff. I'm Will Smith now, not Will Custody anymore. Cool. So both of us are working on this project now. So we should see this churn pretty hard. And we have 10 turns to do it. So that's good. I think we have a really good shot here at making that 149 or close to it. So why don't we next turn, we'll watch our money go down by 2,600, which would be the 2,500 salary that Lucille's going to make. And then also every employee makes at least $100 right now. It's a little bit of money that is just kind of like a general cost of living for that person. And even as a founder, you still need to eat too. So look at that. We're churning really hard on these 4 skills that we do have, which is excellent. Let's take a look at our inbox. Salary was adjusted. We recruited that person, and we see that we have a couple of people allocated to projects. Let's take a quick look, and wow, Lucille's still pretty happy. So that's a good thing. I think that means that our salary is very fair, very equitable, and let's go take a look at our prospect pipeline. So we have Ann Murphy over here, and see, this is really valuable. I'm really glad that we recruited her because I can see that she's got some very, very high skills in different areas. Project planning and illustration are huge for her. Hardware programming is possibly really high or possibly like middle of the road. And then she's got some pretty good, like, of the 5 administrative skills, short of writing. Writing looks like it's pretty rough. But she was formerly an executive, which makes sense why these skills are laid out the way they are. And she's got a neutral personality. So salaries suggesting somewhere around the $7,000 range, 7 to 12, which is really, really expensive. But again, maybe I can rope her in, and how do I want to handle this? Because I can't afford $7,000 over like 8 turns. That would completely bankrupt us. But you know what? We're gonna continue to be the terrible boss that we are. We're gonna rope her in for 9,000. I look at this maybe like a signing bonus kind of deal, and then we're gonna jack her salary down, and hopefully the happiness doesn't drive her out of the company. But you know, that's business, right? So if we look at these actions, cool. Still have 2 for the make offer. Let's pull the trigger off of that, and we'll add. We want to be able to accept more projects. We'll be able to submit projects because now we have two employees contributing to this. So I feel fine distributing my workload across multiple. So those are the only things we really need right now. Let's see what happens. If we see our money drop by a big amount, like 10K, then we'll know that that she accepted the offer. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. I don't like wasting make offers because you will still use that action point if you make an offer to someone and they decline it, which is really unfortunate. And that's why you want to make sure you're making reasonable offers to people, because if you don't, you're just going to blow those points for no reason. Cool. So Anne Murphy looks to be pretty happy. She also looks like she's a rock star in terms of project planning. Illustration is nearly maxed, and so is accounting. So I think this is a really good hire. So, oh god, I can't edit her salary because I don't have skill points for that. That's terrifying. Okay. So we can definitely turn off accept project. We got 4 points there. Definitely turn off submit project. We have 2 there. Adjust salary, and maybe make offer we can work on. I need to also allocate her to the project. Let's go back and add her to the project. Anne Murphy is going to be staff on this project at 100%. Cool. So we've already trucked it on exploratory testing, which is great. The other skills are working, but hopefully this will really work out. Let's go ahead and next turn. She is super expensive. $10,000 is going to almost bankrupt us here. We're going to bring us down to like under 20K, which is kind of scary. So I might have to either submit this project early to stop working on it once all the skills that we have are maxed out. Okay. So we blew away project planning. Organization is almost completely done. Server programming and manual testing, which are huge components we're continuing to work on. I definitely cannot afford to keep her. So, Anne Murphy, we're going to edit your salary. You're going to drop down to a reasonable like $2,500, and you're probably going to be really upset with that. But I can only do so much. Bad Manager of the Year award right here. So that she should churn, and I think the project's going to be pretty close to done. Okay, Anne Murphy is not looking very happy. Lucille is still pretty happy. So this is not great. You don't want to be in this gray area because after a period of being in that gray area, she's just going to walk away. But I need to get this project done. So cool. Everything she could contribute to the project has maxed out, and I'll keep her around. Should I keep her or should I fire her? Because that $2,500 is extra turns that I get to keep the other person. Yeah, let's take a look. We have a bunch of action points. We have some adjust salary, which is good. We have make offers, which we need. Let's turn on some recruit persons and turn off the make offers because we have 4 of those. And why don't we? Yeah, we're going to fire her because I can't really afford to keep her around. And she's unhappy. So you're fired. And throughout the UI, you'll see a lot of these little tokens will pop up to let you know that something's happening with a particular person or with an item. And that's really just to kind of be a quick gloss over, like you can tell you got something outstanding for that person. One of the big things we want to work on as we continue doing UI enhancements is adding more kinds of notifications, like more badges all over the place to let you know that you did something or you have something kind of pending or outstanding in this area. So we'll just keep an eye on this project. I alone should be contributing to server and manual testing. I can pull them off of the project because they're not actually contributing anything meaningful at this point. And if I had another project for them to work on, like let's see what's available. Oh man, another one of these. So right now, again, there's a limited number of types of projects that exist. So there will be a very, very diverse group when the game is launched. But right now I have just a handful, so it feels a little repetitive. But can't really go for these high star projects. We go for this $87,000 project and see what happens 11 turns from now. Yeah, sure. Let's try and pull that one on, and it'll give our remaining employee, Lucille, something to do. So next turn, bye, Anne. Sorry, you're way too taxing on payroll. Oh no. Looks like I might have had an error there. We'll keep an eye on that. All right. That's unfortunate. There might be a bug with firing an employee. So let's not fire and see if we can push through to the next turn. That is something for me to note. What's going on here? Ah, darn. So we might have run into a little bit of a technical snafu. I can keep slapping next turn and see if it's just a transient issue, or there might actually be a real underlying problem here. Usually when it hangs for a good amount of time, it means that something good is happening under the hood. Okay, so we've advanced a couple of turns, which is not good. But overall, looks like we did that reallocation correctly. We got the project, and then just some older messages here. So let's take a look at our project situation. Projects in progress. This really expensive one. We're almost completely done. Just got to pump out a little more server programming. I'm going to allocate Lucille at 100% to this. And I guess I'll add Anne because I can't seem to fire her. You got very lucky there, Anne, to that project. And I'm going to go bankrupt if I don't submit this project right now. So I need to submit that. Because I can't afford to pay my employees. So I'm also going to reallocate myself to this project, and we're basically going to do the same thing again, just trying to churn for that 87,000. So let's see what happens here, and hopefully we end up with, over $100,000 worth of money from that project. We didn't complete it all 100%, so I'm not expecting to get the 150, but we should land pretty high because we're submitting it early. We're submitting it almost completely done. All right, that is a really nice chunk of change. So, staff management system project result was we earned 137,000, and our rep went up to 3.6. so we can start accepting even better projects. Made a ton of money off of that. Did not go bankrupt. We're able to keep our employees, and is still mad. So I think I'm gonna put the demo down there, and that gave us a really good feel for what it's like to play through a few turns of Bizio. There's a lot of polish that I need to continue working on, and obviously still some bugs that popped up throughout the demo. But stay tuned for our next video where we dive into more of these features and more things that we work on throughout development. If you have the time, check out the blog, and that's at williamcustody.com. And as always, stay tuned for more information. Thank you.